Hey folks, Brendan here from Bluelight with another explainer video for you to help you succeed in the police recruitment process. So one of the things I've noticed over the past couple of months, especially after some of the scandals of corrupt behaviour that's come out of a few forces in the United Kingdom, is a leaning towards forces at final interview stage asking more questions that are values-based, testing your ability to think through how you would deal with certain types of situations. So this is nothing new, by the way. These sort of questions have existed for as long as I've been doing this. For those of you who don't know me, I've been coaching and supporting people to succeed in not just the police recruitment process, but especially in the early years in police promotion boards, specialist interviews. I've been doing that now for 26 years. I qualified as a tutor constable in 1988. Yes, that's how old I am. But over the past 10 years, I've been helping to support people in the police recruitment process. And over 12,000 people are now in the police as a result of my support. And that's probably a conservative number. So one of the things I've noticed, like I said, over the years is the come and go forces will ask questions, typically tell me about a time when you have. Very standard type question where you talk about how you've displayed certain behaviours in the past. But now forces are starting to ask more and more questions about how you would deal with something in the future. And the sort of issues they're giving you are the ones I'm going to talk about here. So if you're one of my clients, by the way, you'll be able to watch part 2 and part 3 of this video in the interview course Facebook group, and I'll see what I can do to add it to the interview course as well. So this is just a bit of a foundation, really, just to give you an insight into the sort of questions that you might be asked and how you would actually go about dealing with them. But for the more detailed versions, check the links below to my courses, the interview courses, the online assessment centre courses. They're guaranteed to get you a pass, but only if you do the work I show you. I'll show you the way you do the hard work. That's the deal. Check below also my Trustpilot reviews. They'll talk about exactly that you've got to put the work in. This doesn't happen by osmosis, folks. This happens by practice, practice, practice. So the first one I'm going to look at is how would you go about dealing with a scenario that involved, let's say, antisocial behaviour in a community. Well, straight away, there's the immediate answer about dealing with it and tackling it and perhaps moving people away or perhaps using your tools and powers to deal with whatever antisocial behaviour it might be. But one of the things you really want to focus on is preventing it from happening in the first place. And this is where the concept of forming a working group comes in, based on getting people involved who demonstrate the 4 C's, people who are capable, connected, they care enough to act, and they're committed to take action. So that's one of the things you can look at there, how you would go about preventing things happening in the future by enabling members of the community rather than doing things for them. So we're going to take an asset-based approach there. Next sort of incident they might actually give you a specific incident of antisocial behaviour, or as Suffolk do, just to give you an example of something that's well out there, they ask you how you go about dealing with delivering a death message. Durham Constabulary currently asking you how you would deal with a mental health problem in someone who's causing antisocial behaviour with a mental health homeless problem behind them. That would be a mix really of the working group concept, but also if it's a specific incident that they're sending you to, the key to answering those sort of questions, because some of you might be thinking, I don't know how you go about dealing with those sort of things. Use the national decision model. That will give you a structured approach to tackling any incident that they give you as a scenario-based type, how would you deal with? And in case you're thinking, surely forces aren't asking those sort of questions. Oh yes, they are. Like I said, Suffolk and Norfolk Constabulary asking questions about death messages. Durham Constabulary asking questions about homelessness and mental health and antisocial behaviour, specific antisocial behaviour issues. The next one, challenging behaviour. These are cropping up more and more about how you would deal with officers who are displaying behaviour which would be considered to be misconduct. There's a whole load of things here to take into consideration, code of ethics being one of them. What does the code of ethics actually require you to do? And then moving into a model which my clients are very familiar with, especially those who did role plays prior to COVID, is the CUTSA model of challenging behaviour. It's based on a non-contact conflict management model that the police used in the 1990s. I've adapted it and it works awesomely for any answers that you give around challenging anyone's inappropriate behaviour. It just completely nails it, And then the last one. One of the questions that we just looked at this evening actually, I ran a webinar earlier on for those people who are on my interview course, and one of the things we took a look at was what challenges does this force face, and then the next question is, if that's one of the biggest challenges, how will you as a constable help us meet those challenges? Now there's several forces asked questions like that. Derbyshire springs to mind, Nottinghamshire spring to mind. You've got to be ready for those sort of questions, and don't think, oh, Nottinghamshire are asking these sort of questions last month, so they're going to be asking the same questions this month. It doesn't work like that. Forces are always changing up and changing the style of their questions. North Yorkshire Police have just introduced role plays again. No, not again, for the first time. So things change all the time, folks. Be ready for anything. So how would you deal with county lines, domestic violence? This is where you as an individual officer can demonstrate your professional curiosity and also demonstrating the ABCs of policing. Assume nothing, believe no one, challenge and corroborate everything. There's a lot more to that one. I'll talk about it in the videos for those of you who are my awesome, amazing clients who are on the interview course. Now remember, if you're on the interview course and you're one of my clients, you automatically get upgraded to the webinar option. And if you click the link below, even if you're not one of my clients, you can get an upgrade to the webinar version. That's where you can join me on weekly practice webinars where we practice these sort of questions to ensure that on the day you come across, as opposed to being rehearsed and a bit dithery, you come across as being prepared and confident. That's what we want to be, folks. And that's only going to happen by you practicing and taking uncomfortable action. When I say uncomfortable action, we don't practice the questions that you're comfortable with, where you've got answers lined up already and they're fine. What's the point in practicing those? We practice as individuals within the group, and we debrief it, the questions that you don't want to be asked, the ones that you're finding most uncomfortable and challenging. That's what we do. And that's how we get amazing results, by practicing the questions that you don't want to be asked. All right, folks, check the links below for more detail, and also detail of how you can join the awesome Bluelight Facebook groups. And I shall catch up with you all very soon. Bye-bye for now.